Here is a scenario: you deposit ETH and USDC into a Uniswap pool. ETH goes up 100%. You withdraw your liquidity. If you had just held, your position would be worth 6,000 USDC. Your LP position is worth only 5,657, a 343 USDC shortfall. You earned fees the whole time and still came out behind. This is impermanent loss, the DeFi concept that trips up every LP who does not understand the math. Welcome to Quantify. Impermanent loss, or IL, is the opportunity cost of being an AMM liquidity provider versus simply holding your assets. It arises mechanically from how arbitrageurs rebalance the pool as prices move. You end up holding more of the cheaper asset and less of the expensive one, exactly the wrong position. The good news, IL is entirely predictable with a closed-form formula, first derived by Pintail in January 2019 and later formalized in peer-reviewed academic work. The setup: a pool holds X ETH and Y USDC satisfying X times Y equals K. The entry price P0 equals Y over X. ETH price moves to P1 equals R times P0. R is the price ratio, R equals 2 means ETH doubled, R equals 0.5 means ETH halved. Arbitrageurs immediately rebalance the pool until the reserve ratio matches the new price. Your ETH reserve shrinks to X over root R, your USDC reserve grows to Y times root R. You are being forced to sell the appreciating asset to arbitrage bots at a discount. The impermanent loss formula, IL of R equals 2 root R over 1 plus R minus 1. Where R is the price ratio P1 over P0. The numerator is twice the geometric mean of the old and new prices. The denominator normalizes by the sum. Pintail first derived this from X times Y equals K first principles in January 2019. Plug in values: no price change gives 0 IL. ETH up 50% gives minus 2%. ETH doubling gives minus 5.7%. ETH quadrupling gives minus 20%. And it is symmetric: ETH halving gives the same minus 5.7% as ETH doubling. Plotting IL as a function of price ratio gives this curve. At R equals 1, no price change, IL is exactly 0. As price moves away from entry in either direction, Illinois grows. ETH doubling, R equals 2, costs 5.7%. ETH quadrupling costs 20% IL. And the curve is symmetric, the same ratio move hurts equally regardless of direction. A 4 times move is 20% IL whether ETH goes from 1,000 to 4,000 or from 4,000 to 1,000. Plotting HODL value against LP value makes the gap visible. The teal line is what your 50-50 position would be worth if you just held. The red line is your actual LP position value. At entry, R equals 1, they are identical. As price diverges in either direction, the LP value falls below the HODL line. The shaded area is the impermanent loss, the total value the AMM mechanically transfers from you to arbitrage bots. The gap widens as price moves further from your entry. LP profit equals fees earned minus impermanent loss. Daily fee APR approximates 0.003 times daily volume divided by pool TVL. Breakeven requires fee APR to exceed annual IL. For ETH/USDC V2 with typical crypto volatility, annual IL runs 15 to 30%, you need fee APR above that threshold to profit. In 2023, ETH nearly doubled, roughly 5.7% raw IL, but V2 fee income ran 6 to 7% annualized on the pool. Net result, plus 1 to 2% over holding. In sideways or bear markets with lower volatility, fee income dominates and IL shrinks. The name impermanent comes from this: if prices return exactly to your entry level, Illinois goes back to 0. You have earned fees on the round trip and suffered no permanent cost. But in practice, crypto assets rarely return exactly to your entry price. So in most real cases, impermanent loss becomes permanent. Academically, Milianis and co-authors prefer the term loss versus rebalancing, or LVR. They argue the loss is not impermanent at all, it accrues continuously every second the pool runs, as arbitrage bots pick off stale prices. Milianis, Moalami, Roughgarden and Zhang derived a precise formula: the LVR rate per unit time equals sigma squared over 8 times liquidity depth L. They call it the Black-Scholes formula for AMMs. LVR grows with asset variance, more volatile assets bleed more. And it grows with pool liquidity depth, deeper pools offer a larger arbitrage surface. Critically, LVR is non-decreasing and non-reversible. The loss accrues every block. It does not recover when prices return to entry. This is why LVR is the more honest framing than impermanent loss. Published at ACM Economics and Computation in 2023. Strategy 1: Use correlated pairs. ETH and ETH, or USDC and USDT, always trade near parity, or stays near 1 and IL approaches 0. This is the most reliable mitigation. Strategy 2: Uniswap v3 concentrated ranges. A tight range captures far more fees per dollar, but if price exits your range, your capital is entirely in one asset and IL is maximized. Requires active management. Strategy 3: Active rebalancing vaults. Arrakis Finance and Gamma strategies automate V3 range management to maximize fee income while reducing periods of out-of-range exposure. Strategy 4: Uniswap V4 hooks. Boonie V2, the largest V4 hook by TVL in 2025, uses liquidity density functions combined with MEV capture to redistribute arbitrage profits back to liquidity providers. A lesson from Bancor V3. In May 2022 they launched instant 100% IL protection, funded by minting BNT tokens. 1 month later, following the Terra collapse and the 3AC crisis, Bancor paused the protection indefinitely, citing hostile market conditions and a large coordinated short on BNT. A class action lawsuit was filed in 2023 in U.S. federal court, alleging Bancor knew the mechanism ran at a structural deficit before launch. It was never fully restored and TVL collapsed. The lesson: IL insurance funded by inflation is reflexively fragile, it fails under exactly the market conditions where you would need it most. Before providing liquidity anywhere, calculate expected annual fee income and expected IL given typical volatility for this pair. If fee APR does not comfortably exceed expected IL, you are subsidizing traders with your capital. IL is a symmetric function of the price ratio. Academically, loss versus rebalancing is the more honest framing, it is non-reversible and accrues every block. Stick to correlated pairs for conservative LP. And treat any IL protection claim with extreme skepticism. The Bancor lesson is that inflation-backed protection fails when you need it most. Next, Uniswap v3 concentrated liquidity, how narrowing your price range can deliver 4,000 times the capital efficiency, and the active management strategies you need to capture it without getting wrecked by IL. Subscribe. Quantitative.